The D, man.
Yeah, shout out my nigga from D's Media, you feel me?
Yo, it's your boy D's Media back again with another video. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel on the road to 100K. Today we gonna talk about, man, Risky Road BOG member that was involved in the Stefan Mack hit. Man, dude look like, man, he about to plead guilty, man. Let's jump straight into it.
Chicago rapper Lil Durk could be linked to a second for hire plot, this time in Chicago. These are images of Mack in 2022. Prosecutors say Mack was outside the Youth Peace Center of Roseland when he was down. The FBI linked the two men charged with Mack's murder to Durk using texts and confidential informants. The feds believe this revenge for the death of Lil Durk's brother. To be clear, Lil Durk has not been charged in Mack.
Murder for hire. I don't know who be wearing that word for hire. I don't know who be wearing that word for hire. I don't know who be wearing that wire. Shorty go, nah, he ain't no fighter. I went to court with a public.
The feds is saying that they had a federal informant around OTF for 5 years that they paid $12,000, right? So how didn't y'all get in front of none of these bees and stop them from happening? If y'all got somebody that's wearing a wire that's feeding y'all information for the last 5 years, how didn't y'all get ahead of none of these cases and stop these bees from happening? If y'all at the table wearing the wire, y'all can't just let crimes go on. You know what I'm saying? Especially not somebody losing their life. You know how much money the federal government would lose if it came to find out that dudes was wearing a wire and in tune with the federal government and they was just letting bees get dropped? That don't make sense. A federal informant for 5 years, and over the 5 years that y'all was investigating, y'all didn't stop none of these hires from happening. That sounds like somebody lying about the timeline of a working informant. I'm just being honest with you. It's a reason that the federal government went with the Lil Pop case over this one, because I'm trying to tell you, man, Lil Durk gonna beat this down the line, man. Trust and believe me. I believe that this situation happened before the Lil Pap situation. So if they already had this case, you know what I'm saying, under their wing, they could have been went forward with this case, because they know there's nothing that they can do. They can keep using it as leverage when a bond or hearing or something like that come up, but they ain't got nothing. So Marley, you sitting here telling me that you about to spend possibly the rest of your life in federal prison and you got played out of the bread? If you go look at the federal paperwork, man, they say that man Marley ain't even get paid. That man Mike City, AJ, man, kept all of the bread. So, bro, here it is, bro, that they alleging that you was involved in this hire and you ain't even get paid. Durk got this case in the bag, like I ain't even gonna lie to you. First of all, okay, you got a person saying that Ken said that there was a bounty for XYZ. Okay, Ken's gone, rest in peace. It might have been a connection to Durk, but he's no longer here. Okay, secondly, you got him saying that he met Lil Durk on the 17th when it was $1 million worth of game interview. Now, the one time in that federal paperwork did he say Lil Durk handed him any money. He said he received money, but he's not directing it from Lil Durk. In order for it to be for hire, you have to prove that there was a payment, and that payment will have to lead back to Lil Durk. So he can name some of Durk associates, but that's not Lil Durk. You know what I'm saying? So secondly, okay, they say that they got this jailhouse informant that was placed into his cell, and he admitted that it was an offer, a whoop whoop whoop, that he got paid, and you know what I'm saying, and he didn't get all the money, and whoop whoop whoop. Once again, he's not saying that the money came from Lil Durk. Even when dude is saying what's up with OTF, he didn't say what's up with Lil Durk and where the money at, whoop whoop whoop. He's saying OTF. How many people is associated with OTF? How many artists they got? How many staff members they got? How many lawyers they got? That could be anybody. So I feel like the reason why this case ain't really going forward is because they really ain't got too much. If Ken's gone, you know what I'm saying, who else do you got? Okay, even if you got a person like, let's just say, for instance, you got an OTF member that's saying, I heard that Whoop 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 paid for this because this was retaliation for his brother. You have to prove that Lil Durk funded this operation. You have to prove that he paid them dudes. And they can't even say that. They're saying associates close to Durk. They're not saying Lil Durk. I feel like he can beat this case, and that's why I feel like the feds ain't pushing this case. But the only thing that I am gonna say is this: when you take a federal plea, I ain't the smartest person in the world, but I think when you take a federal plea, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, you gotta admit to something. So I feel like that might be the only thing that later on down the line do come back to hurt Lil Durk, is if them dudes keep saying OTF and such, that they might later on down the line charge him. But I think that this case is sealed when Ken lost his life, because you can't put nobody next to Durk. You can't. Like, if y'all really read through this paperwork, only thing that they really got is a jailhouse informant that got the story off of Mac. But once again, he's not putting Lil Durk nowhere near the scene. He's not saying that Lil Durk personally handed me money. He's not saying that Lil Durk personally called me and whoop, whoop, whoop. He's not. You know what I'm saying? I think it was kind of dumb for dudes to be in the same area, and at the same time, like, y'all should have did it a little bit more better, like far as the $1 million worth of game junk. But once again, that's still not no evidence that Lil Durk handed nobody no money. There's no evidence that Lil Durk handed this person some money to pay him. In order for it to be a hire, you have to prove that a person paid for that crime. This is not just a premeditated or a first degree or second or attempt or something. They're saying for hire. So in order for it to be for hire, you have to show where those payments is. And then be honest with you, if Lil Durk was walking around with $1 million in cash on him during the interview, how is you going to trace that cash? You think Lil Durk is dumb enough to go do a bank withdrawal or something like that? You don't think this man has that type of money at his disposal? They're not. If it was a cash payment, how can you prove, besides bank receipts, if he didn't get the money out the bank nowhere near that time or whatever? Because I know Smirk got millions of dollars hanging around the crib. He done took pictures with 300,000-400,000. You got to think at this time, Lil Durk was probably getting $500,000 a show. You know what I'm saying? So what is 50,000 or 100,000 or whatever? You know what I'm saying? That's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I think Lil Durk got this one in the bag, man. My personal opinion. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Peace, positivity, network growth. Let's save these kids. It ain't never too late. We tore down these communities. Let's build them back up. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
The D, man. Yeah, shout out my nigga from D's Media, you feel me?